The first time Kong Lee sees her, she's arguing with a taxi driver in broken Korean outside Incheon Airport. It's 3 a.m., he's exhausted from a flight from New York, and he should be in the back of his car heading home. Instead, he's frozen on the sidewalk, watching an Ethiopian woman with beautiful dark skin gesture emphatically at a driver who's clearly trying to overcharge her. Hongdae, she says firmly in accented Korean, holding up her phone with a fare estimate. Meter says 35,000 won. You want 80,000.
No.
The driver argues back in rapid Korean she clearly doesn't fully understand. Lee watches her expression shift from frustration to uncertainty. She's tired. He can see it in the slight slump of her shoulders, the way she shifts her small suitcase from hand to hand. She's wearing professional clothes, a blazer over a simple blouse, and looks like she's coming from a long journey. The meter is correct, Lee says in English, stepping forward. 35,000 won to Hongdae is the right price. She turns, and when her dark brown eyes meet his, something in Lee's chest tightens. She's beautiful, not in the polished, manufactured way of the women his mother introduces him to, but in a natural, striking way that makes it hard to look away. High cheekbones, full lips, expressive eyes that show intelligence and wariness in equal measure. Thank you, she says, relief evident in her voice. Then to the driver in Korean. 35,000 won. Yes or no? The driver, seeing Lee in his expensive suit, mutters something and waves her away. She doesn't argue, just takes her suitcase and walks toward the taxi queue, head high despite the rejection. Lee should let her go. He has a driver waiting. He has a board meeting in 5 hours. He has an entire life that doesn't involve airport taxi disputes. My driver can take you, he hears himself say. She stops, turns back, and her eyes narrow slightly. No, thank you. It's 3 a.m. The taxi queue will take time, and you'll likely face the same issue. He keeps his voice neutral, professional. My driver is already here. Hongdae is on my way. It's not on his way at all. He lives in Gangnam, completely opposite direction. But something about the way she's looking at him, suspicious, guarded, but also desperately tired, makes him want to help. I don't accept rides from strangers, she says. Then let me introduce myself. Kong Lee. He doesn't add his title, his company name, the fact that he's the heir to one of Korea's largest conglomerates. I work in Seoul. Just came back from a business trip. Anesthesia, she says after a moment. I also work in Seoul. Thank you for the offer, but I'll wait for a proper taxi. And that's it. She walks away, and Lee stands there like an idiot, watching her disappear into the queue. His driver appears at his elbow. Sir, are you ready? Lee gets in the car, but he can't stop thinking about her. The way she held her ground with the taxi driver. The way she didn't trust his offer, even when she clearly needed help. The way his heart had kicked in his chest when she looked at him. It's ridiculous. He saw her for 3 minutes. He doesn't even know her last name. But 2 weeks later, when he's sitting in a meeting with his parents and their lawyers discussing his heir problem, all he can think about is her. You're 31, his mother says, not for the first time. Your grandfather's will is clear. If you don't have a child by 35, your cousin Min-suk inherits everything. I'm aware, Lee says tightly. Then why aren't you married? His father's voice is sharp. We arranged meetings with suitable women. You rejected all of them. Because they were all the same. Beautiful, polished, from good families, and completely uninterested in him as a person. They wanted the Kong name, the Kong money, the Kong empire. None of them looked at him the way that woman at the airport had, with wariness, yes, but also with the expectation that he prove himself worthy of trust. I'll handle it, Lee says. You have 4 years, his mother reminds him. 4 years to marry and produce an heir. After your brother's death, you're our only option. The familiar guilt twists in Lee's gut. His younger brother Min-ho died 3 years ago in a car accident. The golden child, the one everyone loved, the one who was supposed to inherit everything. Lee had been the spare, the backup, the one who could pursue his own interests. Until suddenly, he was all his parents had left. I understand, Lee says. But he doesn't want to marry someone his parents choose. He doesn't want a contract, an arrangement, a business transaction. He wants someone who argues with taxi drivers. Someone who doesn't trust rich strangers offering rides. Someone with fire in her eyes and steel in her spine. He wants her. The obsession starts small. He finds himself taking the same route past Hongdae during his morning commute, even though it adds 30 minutes. He walks through the neighborhood on weekends, telling himself he's just exploring. He never sees her, but he keeps looking. It's pathetic. He knows it's pathetic, but he can't seem to stop. Then, 3 months after the airport encounter, he sees her again. She's walking out of a bank in Gangnam, wearing professional clothes, a neat skirt suit, her hair pulled back, looking tired but composed. She's on her phone, speaking in what he assumes is Amharic, her voice animated. She's smiling, and it transforms her entire face. Lee's feet move before his brain catches up. He follows her, not close, not threateningly, but he follows. She stops at a street food vendor, buys tteokbokki, sits on a bench in a small plaza. She eats while scrolling through her phone, and Lee watches from behind a pillar like a complete stalker. What is wrong with him? This isn't normal. This isn't healthy. But he can't make himself leave. She finishes eating, throws away her trash, and walks toward the subway. Lee follows. When she goes down into the station, he loses her in the crowd, and the sense of loss is so acute it physically hurts. He stands on the platform long after her train has left, trying to understand what's happening to him. The next day, he hires a private investigator. The report comes back within a week, and Lee reads it 3 times, memorizing every detail. Anastasia Tesfaye, 26 years old, Ethiopian. Came to Korea 5 years ago on a student visa, studied business at Korea University. Now works as a loan officer at Hana Bank in Gangnam. Lives in a small office cell in Mapo. Sends most of her salary home to Ethiopia to support 3 younger siblings, 2 in university, 1 in high school. Her parents died in an accident 4 years ago. She has no debt, excellent credit, and a spotless record. She's exactly who he thought she would be. Strong, independent, responsible, taking care of her family while building a life in a foreign country. And she's struggling. The report shows her bank balance, her monthly expenses, the careful budgeting that leaves her with almost nothing for herself. She needs money, desperately, if the amount she sends home is any indication. Lee knows what he has to do. It's insane. It's probably crossing multiple lines. But he can't get her out of his head, and he has 4 years to produce an heir, and she needs money. It could work. It would solve both their problems. He just has to convince her. He plans the meeting carefully. He can't just approach her on the street. That would be creepy. He can't show up at her work. That would be inappropriate. So he waits until she's at her regular coffee shop, the one she goes to every Saturday morning, the one the investigator noted in his report. Lee walks in, orders an Americano, and sits at a nearby table. He waits until she's finished her drink and is packing up to leave. Then he accidentally drops his phone as he stands, right in her path. She bends to pick it up at the same time he does, and their hands brush. She looks up, and he watches the recognition flicker across her face. Airport, she says, surprised. 3 months ago. The taxi. Yes. He takes the phone, smiles. Thank you. And thank you for remembering. I hope you got home safely that night. I did. She's polite but guarded, already stepping back. Have a good day. Wait, Lee says, and she pauses. I know this is forward, but could I buy you another coffee? To properly thank you for the phone. You dropped it. I just picked it up. Still, please. Just coffee. She studies him for a long moment, and he can see her weighing it. Stranger danger versus Korean politeness versus something else. Curiosity, maybe. Just coffee, she says finally. 15 minutes. They sit, and Lee realizes he has no idea how to do this. How do you ask someone to have your baby? How do you make that sound like anything other than insanity? I'm Anastasia, she says, even though he already knows. You're Lee? Kong Lee, yes. I work in business. Corporate? Management. That's very vague. What about you? I work at a bank. Loan officer. She's relaxed slightly, but she's still wary. How long have you lived in Seoul? They make small talk. He asks about Ethiopia, and her eyes light up when she talks about Addis Ababa, her family, the food she misses. She asks about his work, and he keeps it vague, not wanting to scare her off with his family name. 15 minutes becomes 30, then an hour. She's funny, smart, with a sharp wit that catches him off guard. She talks about the challenges of living in Korea as a foreign woman, the little daily discriminations, the loneliness. She talks about her siblings, the pressure of being the oldest, the only one who got out, got educated, got the opportunity to help the others. And Lee falls deeper into his obsession. Because she's not just beautiful, she's extraordinary. She's everything he didn't know he was looking for. When they finally leave the coffee shop, he knows he has to see her again. Could we do this again? He asks. Coffee, I mean. Or dinner. As friends. She hesitates. Why? Because I enjoyed talking to you. Because you're interesting. Because he stops, deciding on honesty. Because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since the airport. Her eyes widen slightly. That's very forward. I know. I'm sorry if that's uncomfortable, but I believe in being honest. He pulls out a business card, his personal one, not the one with his company title. Think about it. No pressure. She takes the card, and he sees her glance at it, her brow furrowing slightly at the lack of company information. I'll think about it, she says. She doesn't call for a week. Lee spends that week distracted, irritable, checking his phone constantly. His assistant asks if he's feeling well. His mother comments on his mood. He nearly bites his father's head off during a board meeting. Then, on a Saturday afternoon, his phone rings. This is Anastasia, she says. From the coffee shop. I remember, Lee says, probably too quickly. I thought about it, and I'd like to have dinner. As friends. To be clear, just as friends. Absolutely. Just friends. They have dinner. Then another dinner. Then coffee again. Then a walk along the Han River. Lee is careful, patient, never pushing for more than she's willing to give. He learns about her life, her dreams, her fears. She wants to eventually return to Ethiopia, start her own business, help develop her community. She sends money home religiously, budgets everyone, dreams of the day her siblings are all educated and self-sufficient, so she can start saving for herself. And the more Lee knows her, the more obsessed he becomes. It's not just attraction anymore, it's fascination, admiration, something deeper and more terrifying. After 2 months of these careful, friendly meetings, Lee knows he can't wait anymore. He has to tell her what he wants, what he needs. He invites her to dinner at a private restaurant, somewhere they can talk without being overheard. She arrives looking nervous, beautiful in a simple dress, and Lee's resolve almost wavers. You've been very mysterious, she says over appetizers. All this time, and I still don't know what you actually do. Just business and corporate management. There's a reason for that, Lee says. And I need to be honest with you about something. Her expression becomes guarded. Okay. My name is Kong Lee. My family owns Kong Industries. It's a conglomerate, hotels, real estate, manufacturing. You might have heard of it. He watches her process this, sees the moment she connects the dots. Kong Industries is everywhere in Korea. His family name is synonymous with wealth and power. I see, she says slowly. So you're very rich. Yes. And you've been taking me to coffee shops and street food vendors for 2 months while pretending to be normal. I am normal. I just also happen to have money. No one with that much money is normal. She's not angry, but she's withdrawing, putting up walls. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to know me, not my bank account. And because he takes a breath. Because I need to ask you something, and I wanted you to trust me first. What could you possibly need to ask me? I need an heir, Lee says bluntly. My grandfather's will stipulates that if I don't have a child by 35, I lose my inheritance. My entire family fortune goes to my cousin. I have less than 4 years. Anastasia stares at him. You brought me here to tell me about your inheritance problems?
No.
I brought you here to make you an offer. What kind of offer? Lee reaches into his jacket and pulls out an envelope. He places it on the table between them. $1 million. To have my baby. The silence that follows is deafening. Anastasia looks at the envelope, then at him, her expression unreadable. You want to pay me, she says slowly, to be a surrogate? Not a surrogate. I want you to be the mother of my child. We could draw up a contract. You'd be compensated, obviously. You'd have the best medical care. After the birth, you could return to Ethiopia if you wanted. I'd ask for visitation rights, of course, but we could work out the details. You're insane. I'm serious. $1 million, Anastasia. That's... I know what it is.
Her voice is cold now.
That's my siblings' education paid for. That's my family's future secured. That's everything I've been working for. She stands abruptly. And you think you can buy me? That's not what I... You spent 2 months pretending to be my friend. Was any of it real? Or was this always the plan? Get me comfortable, get me to trust you, then make your little business proposition? It was real, Lee insists, standing as well. Everything was... No, you wanted to manipulate me. You wanted to make me feel safe, so I'd be more likely to say yes to this insane offer. She's trembling with anger now. I'm not for sale, Lee. My body is not for sale. And I don't care how much money you have or how desperate you are for an heir. The answer is no. She walks out, leaving the envelope on the table. Lee sits back down, his heart pounding. That went worse than he'd imagined. But as he looks at the untouched envelope, something settles in his chest.
She said no.
She turned down $1 million, money she desperately needs because she has principles. Because she won't be bought. It's exactly what he expected from her. It's exactly why he's obsessed. And he's not giving up. Over the next 2 months, Lee tries everything. He sends flowers, she returns them. He sends gifts, she sends them back. He shows up at her bank, and she has security escort him out. He writes her letters explaining himself, trying to make her understand, and she doesn't respond. He's making it worse, he knows. He's being the exact kind of entitled rich man she was afraid he'd be. But he can't stop. Because it's not about the heir anymore, or, at least, not just about the heir. It's about her. He's in love with her. The realization hits him during a board meeting while his father is droning on about quarterly reports. Lee isn't listening. He's thinking about the way Anastasia laughs, the way she argues about everything, the way she looked at him with such betrayal when he made his offer. He's in love with her, and he's ruined everything. That night, he calls his mother. I'm not getting married, he tells her. Not to anyone you choose. Not for the inheritance. Lee. Min-suk can have it. The company, the money, all of it. I don't care. There's a long silence. Then his mother says carefully, There's someone. Yes. And she said no. Yes. Another silence. Then, surprisingly, his mother laughs. Good for her. What did you do? I offered her money to have my baby.
Oh, Lee.
You idiot. I know. And now? Now I have to fix it. If I can. How do you plan to do that? I have no idea, Lee admits. But I'm not giving up on her. Even if it means I lose everything else. He starts smaller. No more flowers, no more gifts, no more grand gestures. He just shows up. At the coffee shop where they first talked, at the plaza where she eats lunch, at the bookstore she visits on weekends. He doesn't approach her, doesn't speak to her. He just exists in her orbit, making sure she knows he's there. It's probably still creepy. But it's better than the alternative, which is drowning in his apartment, unable to think about anything but her. After 3 weeks of this, she confronts him. What are you doing? She demands, cornering him outside the coffee shop. Are you stalking me now?
No.
Yes. Maybe. Lee runs a hand through his hair. I don't know what I'm doing, Anastasia. I just know I can't stay away from you. You offered me money to have your baby. I know. It was wrong. Not the offering. I still need an heir. That part is real, but the way I did it. The timing. The calculation of it. He looks at her, and he doesn't hide what he's feeling anymore. I made it transactional when it was never about that. Then what was it about?
You.
It's always been about you. From the moment I saw you at the airport, I haven't been able to think about anything else. I'm obsessed with you, Anastasia. I'm in love with you. And I know that's probably terrifying to hear, but I can't keep lying about it. She stares at him. You're in love with me. Yes. After 2 months of coffee dates and one disastrous dinner. Yes. You don't know anything about me. I know you send 60% of your salary home to your family. I know you cry during sad movies, but pretend you don't. I know you hate cucumbers and love spicy food, and you always order the same coffee because trying new things makes you anxious. I know you miss Ethiopia so much it hurts, but you stay here because your siblings need you. I know you're the strongest person I've ever met. Her eyes are wide. How do you know all that? Because I've been paying attention. Because every moment I spend with you, I'm trying to understand you. Because I'm completely, hopelessly obsessed. That's not love, Lee. I don't even know what that is. Then let me prove it. He steps closer, careful not to crowd her. No money, no contracts, no business propositions. Just let me court you properly. Let me show you that what I feel is real. Why would I do that? You lied to me. You tried to buy me. Because I think you felt something too before I ruined it. Because in those 2 months before I made my stupid offer, you were happy when we were together. I saw it in your face, Anastasia. You liked me. She doesn't deny it, and that gives him hope. I need time, she says finally, to think. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. She walks away, and Lee lets her go. But he meant what he said. He'll wait. He'll prove himself.
He'll do whatever it takes.
Because losing the inheritance doesn't scare him anymore. Losing her does. 3 weeks later, his phone rings at 11 p.m. I have conditions, Anastasia says, without preamble. Lee sits up so fast he nearly falls out of bed. Okay. No more money offers. No gifts, no flowers, no grand gestures. If we do this, if I even consider letting you court me, it has to be real. Agreed. You tell me the truth. About everything. Your family, your company, your heir situation. No more secrets. Agreed. And if at any point I feel like you're manipulating me, trying to convince me to have your baby, or treating this like a business transaction, I walk away and you don't follow me. You accept my decision and you leave me alone. Agreed. I mean it, Lee. 1 strike and you're out. I understand. I agree to all of it. There's a pause. Then she says quietly, I liked you too.
Before.
I wanted you to know that. I don't trust you right now, and I'm angry at you, but I did like you. That's why this hurt so much. Lee's chest tightens. I know. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Prove you're sorry. Prove that what you felt was real. I will. I promise I will. They start over. Slowly, carefully, like 2 people learning to walk after an injury. Lee tells her everything about his family, the pressure, his brother's death, the weight of being the last heir. She tells him about Ethiopia, about losing her parents, about the guilt of having opportunities her siblings don't. They go on dates, real dates, where Lee pays but doesn't make it feel like a transaction. They talk for hours about everything and nothing. Anastasia introduces him to Ethiopian food, and Lee introduces her to his favorite hidden spots in Seoul, the places where no one recognizes him or cares about his family name. His parents hate it, of course. She's foreign, his mother says when Lee finally tells them about Anastasia. She's not from a good family. She has no connections.
She's perfect, Lee says.
She's a gold digger. She's turned down $1 million from me. She's the opposite of a gold digger. His father studies him across the dinner table. You're serious about her. I'm going to marry her. If she'll have me. And the heir? If we have children, wonderful. If not, Min-suk can have the company. I don't care anymore. You've changed, his mother observes, since meeting her. Yes, Lee agrees. I have. And it's true. He's different now. Less concerned with the inheritance, with the family expectations, with maintaining the Kong image. More concerned with being someone Anastasia could love. Someone worthy of her. 6 months after their restart, Anastasia invites him to her apartment for the first time. It's tiny, neat, filled with pictures of her family. Lee sits on her small couch and looks at photos of her siblings, young faces that depend on her. My youngest sister starts university next year, Anastasia says, sitting beside him with tea. Because of me. Everything I send home made that possible. You should be proud. I am. But I'm also tired. She sets down her tea. Lee, I need you to understand something. Even if we work out, even if this becomes something real, I can't stop supporting my family. They need me. I know, and I won't take money from you for that. That's mine to handle. I understand.
Do you?
Because I've been thinking about this a lot. About what a future with you would look like. You're going to be CEO of a massive company. I work at a bank and send most of my money home. We're from completely different worlds. So, how does this work? Your family already hates me. Your mother has made that clear. How do we build a life when everything about us is different? Lee takes her hand. We figure it out together. You're right that we're from different worlds, but that doesn't mean we can't build something new. Something that's ours. And the baby thing? The heir. Forget about the heir. I mean it, Anastasia. I don't care about the inheritance anymore. If we have children, it'll be because we want them, because we're ready, because it's right for us. Not because of some deadline in my grandfather's will. You'd really give up billions of dollars? For you?
Yes.
Without hesitation. She's quiet for a long moment. Then she says, I love you. Lee's heart stops. What? I love you. I've been trying not to, because I don't trust this, don't trust that it's real. But I can't help it. I'm in love with you, Lee, and it terrifies me. He pulls her close, and she comes willingly, tucking herself against his chest. I love you too. I've loved you since the airport. I know that's insane, but it's true. It is insane, she agrees. This whole thing is insane. They sit like that for a long time, holding each other, breathing together. And Lee feels something settle in him, something that's been unsettled since his brother died, since his grandfather died, since he became the heir to a fortune he never wanted. With her, he's just Lee. Not Kong Lee, not the CEO in waiting, not the last hope of the Kong family. Just a man who fell hopelessly in love with an extraordinary woman. A year later, Lee proposes. Not with $1 million, not with a contract, but with a ring and a promise. I love you, he says, kneeling in the same plaza where they used to eat tteokbokki together. I want to spend my life with you. I want to build a future together. And if we're blessed with children, wonderful. If not, that's okay too. You're enough, Anastasia. You've always been enough. She says yes, crying, laughing, pulling him up to kiss him. His parents don't attend the wedding. They make their disapproval clear, threaten to disown him, warn him about throwing away his future. Lee tells them goodbye and marries Anastasia anyway, in a small ceremony that blends Korean and Ethiopian traditions, with her siblings video calling from Addis Ababa, cheering and crying. It's perfect. She's perfect. Their life together is perfect. And when, 2 years later, Anastasia tells him she's pregnant, Lee doesn't think about the inheritance. He doesn't think about heirs or family obligations or grandfather's wills. He thinks about the woman he loves, carrying their child. He thinks about the family they're building together. He thinks about how lucky he is that she said no to his money and yes to his heart. I can't believe it, Anastasia says, looking at the positive test. After everything. I can, Lee says, pulling her close. We were always meant to be here. You, me, and now this. Your parents will probably come around now that there's an heir. I don't care if they do or don't. My family is right here. And when his parents do reach out, tentatively, after the baby is born, a daughter with Anastasia's eyes and Lee's smile, Lee makes it clear that they're welcome in his life only if they respect his wife. Only if they understand that she's not beneath them, not a gold digger, not a mistake. She's everything. She always was. Years later, people ask Lee about his success, about taking over Kong Industries, about building it into something even bigger than his grandfather imagined. They ask how he did it, what drove him. My wife, he always says. She taught me what's worth fighting for. Because the truth is, he offered her $1 million and she said no. She didn't want his money. She wanted his heart. And in the end, she got both. Hi guys. Thank you for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe for more romance stories. Drop a comment below and rate the story on a scale of 10. I'll see you in the next one.